Hey y'all, we are back. Oh my gosh, how y'all doing? How you been? How you been, Dani?
Great. Life is lifing, you know?
Uh-huh.
We're here. We're here.
Listen, we are here. Life has definitely been lifing. Really, really great moments and celebrations. We are now in season 4. So, oh yes, super.
Can you believe it?
Listen, we are at over 50 episodes. That is wild to me, at least. That's wild. That's
It's
wild.
crazy. Yeah, I'm
It
really
is.
happy. I can't wait till we're at our 5,000th episode.
Oh
That's,
yes, baby.
that's where I'm trying to go with this. I want to just do this for years, forever. I want to be like 80, like trigger yes.
I'm not gonna be in a walker. So on our vacations, okay, with our fine men still. Um, so listen, we have an amazing person here today. We're gonna talk about one of my top 5 favorite topics, which is confidence, right? Because here's the thing, I am a firm believer in that when you truly are confident in yourself, you move different, you go after things differently. It really does determine the type of partners you choose, the type of friendships you allow to stay in your life. But when you are not confident, baby, it can really fuck up your life. So we are talking today with Achieng, the confidence queen, and I cannot wait to tap into just the goodness that this conversation is going to bring. So I hope y'all ready. You ready, Dani?
I'm ready. This is going to be great.
Yes, totally is. So welcome to the show. How are you?
Hello, how you guys doing? Good to see you guys.
Yes, welcome to the show. We're so happy to have the confidence queen, honey. Get us together, okay? Get us together, sis.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys so much for having me. I'm excited for today. So, yeah.
Yes, I'm excited too. Because like I was saying earlier, is I truly do believe like confidence can be hella costly. Like, I mean, really, really costly. So what would you say that were some of like the consequences that you faced when you didn't lead with confidence? Like what have been some of those like, ah, dang, had I just cared a little bit more, been a little bit more sure of myself, I wouldn't have done that.
I feel like for me, especially in the industry that I'm in, I think there's many times that I've been in spaces and I just feel like a little imposter syndrome, right? Like I feel like I don't have the confidence to be in that space because maybe there's people that I see around me who like maybe deserve that space more than me. And I leave those spaces and I'm like, wait, if I just really believed in myself, I could put myself out there. I could make a connection. I could get myself to a different level, a different space, a different tax bracket, please, you know? So, and I think it just has to go with believing in yourself, like knowing that you are worthy of anything and everything that you bring, that you do, that you are. And I think that I've lost a few things in my life for not like having that confidence in myself and believing that I'm worthy of being in that space or leading or walking with the confidence that I know I have and I deserve.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I truly do believe that if you can harness what you are best at and then take that energy of, oh no, nobody can tell me anything about this thing, and you take that and you walk into every room with it, you bring a different energy into the room. So you're able to shift the room however you need to, even when you're not, feeling as confident walking in, because you have learned how to harness that energy and that flow, it changes things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Totally
Yeah. And with you talking about the consequences, Alicia, it's just like we don't realize sometimes, like a lot of times we try to blame all the outside things as to why we may not accomplish something or get something, but forgetting that a lot of times we're just in our own way. And it's our lack of confidence or our lack of like feeling self-assured within our ability to do things is what actually holds us back. But if we don't take responsibility for that, then it's always going to be this next person or that thing or those people that are holding us back. And then we're always wondering why we're in this state of just being stuck all the time because we're not really identifying what the real roadblock is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the most important things that you can truly do for yourself is figure out who the fuck you are. Like
Yeah.
when you figure out who you are, it really does change the game because you develop a mastery in who you are. And then you're clear on what you bring to the table. So you say no to the things you're supposed to say no to. And then you say yes to the things that align with who you are. So you grow different, you operate differently, you receive differently, and you also serve different. And that different is what is the game changer for you, because what you need is different than what everybody else needs. And you learn to operate, flow, and grow from a place that feeds and waters you. That's the piece that's missing. That is why being confident in who you are is literally the most important thing you can do.
Yeah. And Achieng, as this tantalizing confidence queen, honey, some people would say that, oh, I was just born like this. Like I woke up like this. I was born like this. Would you say like you were born confident, like you just kind of were always like that? And that's what I mean by born. Like you were just like, that's just your upbringing, your family. They just were like, that's just how you are, naturally. Like there are people, like you can watch little kids and some of them are just like, who are you? What planet did you come from? Why do you have so much personality? Like it just seems innate. And then there are those of us who need to cultivate confidence over time. Would you say that you were one of those people that just kind of had it, or it's something you cultivated over time and had to build and nourish and grow?
I would say I had to build it. I think I'm born and raised in Kenya. And so I lived in a community and a society where especially women weren't necessarily like brought to the forefront in any kind of way. Right. I was always taught to be small and quiet and like petite and minute. Like that's what was like very womanly. And like I was always raised in that society and in that space. And like even like I have an older brother and kind of like lived behind his shadow. Like, you just have to be like behind him all the time. And I moved to the US when I was 16, and I lived with this host family. And like I would say my host mother is the one who was like, no, you can be you. You can be all these things you want to be. You can be loud. You can be crazy. You can laugh. You can do this. Like I remember this. I think this was like the pivotal point for me where I was like, that's insane. So I always used to, when I had hair, I would have my braids up in a bun all the time. I would never let my hair down. And one time my host mother said, like, let me see you with like your braids down. And I was like, I can't do that. And she was like, why? I was like, it feels like it's too much. It's too much. And she's like, to let your hair down? Like, she was like, if you don't let your hair down right now, like, girl, we're on something else. Like, and I think that was pivotal for me because it was like letting my hair down physically, but also like letting my hair down, like actually just being the person that I'm supposed to be. I'm this vibrant, charismatic, loud person. And I feel like that was like just stifled for so long for me. And it just had to take like every day me learning who I was. Like, and I think you mentioned that earlier of like learning who you really are and knowing who you really are. And it took a long time for me to get to this point. And I think I'm still on this like confidence journey. I think there's like a higher version of myself that I still really want to be, but I had to learn it. I had to see it. I had to see other women who look like me and talk like me living their best lives. I had to see other people who I wanted to be living their lives so freely and unapologetically them, for me to be like, oh, I can do that for myself too. I can walk around knowing that I am that bitch. I am the creme de la creme. I'm it. So.
Yes. Okay. Yes to the creme de la creme. And so normally we like to always start like every show asking our guests, like, who do you say you are? And I waited to ask that question for you because I wanted to like hop into the question that you just answered, like, I am the creme de la creme. So of all the things, yes, tantalizing confidence queen, but who is it exactly that Achieng says she is? Like, who is that person?
That's a great question. I would say, I feel like I'm I'm a growing person. I don't think this is my it, right? I think there's so many things to me that I also didn't know about myself. And I feel like this journey that I'm on of like really loving myself so viciously is helping me learn who I am. I think like even talking about like something that I'm starting to learn right now is learning how I can love like a significant other. Like that's something that I have not been able to confidently do in any shape, way, or form because it has always seemed like I've had no confidence there at all. So like learning myself there, right? I feel like I'm still like a growing woman.
Yes, like a flower, just budding.
Flower, like a budding flower still.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that. And that's something too. And you just said something that's really interesting because a lot of women struggle, right, with self-confidence. And you just said something that might be a reason why too so many, and this is for people in general, not just for women, but struggle with relationships because it's learning how to confidently love you and then also confidently be loved by
Yeah.
someone else and also return that love in a way that they can comprehend, understand, and accept.
Mhm.
So, why is it, do you feel that so many women struggle with self confidence? And what were some of the reasons why you struggled with it?
I would say I think there's this societal norm for the way women need to act and women need to be and behave and dress and talk and walk and live. And I think I feel like from the get-go, from the womb, okay, you're already labeled as somebody, as something, as a I was watching this thing on TikTok where, like, even on like baby clothing, like on boys' clothing, it's like, you're strong, you're it, I'm gonna be the best, baddest, you know? And then it's women on the girls, it's like, I like lipstick and this, and I like, I'm a small girl, or like I'm a cute, like it's never anything empowering, right? So
Yeah.
society has never created a space for women to feel empowered. It always makes women question themselves as humans walking through this world from the get-go.
Mhm.
And I think that's where the lack of confidence comes from, because it feels like, yeah, but like just making women feel like you're not enough, you can't do this, you can't be this. And so you're always questioning yourself as a woman every single day because of society. And I think that's why women just don't feel like they have the confidence to do what they want. And that's why they think that confident women are this like crazy visceral thing, like, wow, you're confident, that's crazy or whatever. But it's like, no, I'm me, I'm doing me, I'm living my life as, some people are like, I've heard so many conversations, like even on meetings with with like brands, like you're like, you're like a man, like you're strong like a man. I'm like, me,
Me. Oh
me.
no.
Please, like, why would my strength, why would my confidence only be connected to the power of a man as opposed to my power as a woman?
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of like when people say, oh man, what is it? When they refer to balls being strong, and it's like, no, vaginas are the ones that are really strong. Like, oh, he's got some balls.
Yeah,
Balls are sensitive. They're very sensitive.
they are. And like saying things like, oh, stop being a pussy, because, they think that, words like pussy that's associated to like a woman that is
Yeah.
weak and
Right.
like not strong.
No, pussies, they take a pounding. They're some really strong. They are very strong. They deliver souls earthside. They bleed
Yeah.
without killing us. Like, no, pussies are kind of strong, if we being honest. They're strong.
And also too, as far as why maybe women struggle with so much confidence, I definitely think society, but I think that there's just so much programming just within a community of women that it's passed down. Like all the damage has been done, yes, through society, but it's like we're told usually by our mothers and our aunts and our grandmothers and other women how we should behave. And that sometimes can be really difficult because you don't always have the example to look to, or you are this confident person, and then it's like, oh, she thinks she all that, or oh,
Mhm.
she thinks, or it ends up being like, oh, I can't even really have friends for real because women don't like me because they think I'm confident. And then you know what I mean? It's like this vicious cycle where you have to shrink yourself sometimes for other women to like you or to want to be around you or to feel comfortable around you because you may come off as intimidating or they think you're a bitch. And don't be naturally a pretty girl or an attractive girl with confidence. Like, it's like, you think you hot shit. And then it gets to this space where women will isolate you and not want you a part of their circle because of that intimidation that they feel. So it's like, yes, society, but also within our community of women, we can do a better job of uplifting and kind of rooting on those confident women as opposed to trying to smother them or stifle that so that we can feel more comfortable because we struggle with confidence.
Yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely. And one thing too that I always like to, and people kind of look at me crazy when I say it, but I don't believe in being humble. I don't believe in it. That you're like, oh, I'm so humble. And I'm like, why would you want me to be humble? For what? Have you read the definition? And I'm looking it up here on my phone so that I can read it to people because they're like, oh, well, you got to remain humble. And I was like, no, I'm not. I was talking to this one dude and he was just like, well, I'm a really humble person. I was like, oh, well, that's cute because I'm not. And he was like, what?
Period.
Period. Like, what did you just say? I know. I'm not humble and I'm not going to play pretend like I am. I was like, I know who I am. I'm confident in who that person is. And I walk in every room like I'm the best thing that just walked into this room. And me being the best does not take away from you being the best.
Exactly. And I think that's where we forget that. Like, it's like you feel like, oh, she's so confident. She's so beautiful. That somehow makes you less than what you are.
It doesn't.
No, sis. Like, me and Alechia are always like, I collect pretty girls. Like, I want all the girls on my side. Like, girl, oh, you pretty, meet me in the bathroom. Oh, you cute. Like, I've never felt like that about beautiful women or confident women. Like, I like to collect those. I'm like, yeah, come on, come be on my team. Yeah. You know how many fabulous restaurants we can get into being beautiful, girl? Like, I feel like girls that are like that are just missing out on so much opportunity. When you can find like-minded women or you can find beautiful women and embrace them and you're unstoppable. It's like you can do anything together when we come together as women, especially when you're beautiful. Oh my God.
Yeah. And here's the thing too. And here's the thing about beauty. Everybody ugly to somebody, and that's totally fine. Yeah. I'm talking about when you know you're beautiful, when you know you dress up. I don't care what the body shape. I don't care what the size. Yes. I don't care. It's an inner knowing that I'm the baddest thing since sliced bread. And when you move it,
come be my friend. When you like that, come be my friend.
Come on, sis. I like people were like, oh, well, I don't like alpha females. They're like, how could you work with alpha females? I was like, because I love alphas.
Powerful. I feel like it's like so empowering. And like, I think like there's this whole thing of like people thinking that you're delusional or like you're cocky. Like, first of all, you need some certain sort of delusion in your life. Like, let me be delusional. Let me be delusional in peace. Like, I know I'm the hottest, the best that has ever walked this land since Queen Nefertiti. I know that myself, right? Yeah. And so I think something that at least women, I feel like, struggle with when it comes to that space where like you see another woman or you feel intimidated or all these things. I think it comes from a space where like you don't know your worth, right? So you feel like somebody else being a bad bitch, like somebody really being that girl is saying something about you. It's taking away from the woman, and it's not.
It's a trigger. It's literally a trigger. Like it's something that I've had women say that. It's like, God, that made me really uncomfortable. Or they feel weird when they hear a woman like Alecia's, like she says that she's not humble. Nope. And to hear somebody talk about themselves or to say, oh, I'm this or I'm that, it literally makes people cringe. Like it makes them like squirm. It's like,
like something, for example, like Chloe Bailey. She lives her life. She's that girl, right? And she knows it every single day. And the way the internet is on her neck every day saying, Chloe, humble yourself, or put on different clothes, or why are you acting like that? And she's like, listen, I know my power as an artist, as a woman, and like I think she's an example of like how other women feel so triggered because it's triggered AF. It's triggered AF because I always see it as like when you cringe like that, you're like, oh, that's weird, whatever. It's like you really want to be that girl though. You really want to live the way Chloe's living or whoever that other lady is living or whatever. Like that's what I see it as. Like you are not able to feel confident in yourself in that capacity. And so you're going to project this negative energy into this space and onto this woman because you feel like you can't be that person right now. And that's okay. But don't like it, I don't know.
No, it's literally what Tabitha Brown says. She's like, go on and have a good day. But if you can't have a good day, don't go messing up nobody else's.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay if you don't yet feel confident in yourself, but me being confident, it should not affect how you feel about you. And my thing too is Chloe is in her 20s. She is discovering after having to be this, I am this perfect girl who doesn't curse, who doesn't say bad things, who doesn't do bad things, who, oh my goodness, no, I never liked sex. No, she has become a woman and she is walking into and figuring out her sexuality. And I don't believe that you should force women to be this picture of something that no, that's not what real women are. You want us to be super virginal, but then get into a marriage and be freak nasty. How, Slay?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know like, how that works. And then when you are this virginal, married, perfect woman, then you get into the marriage, you don't know what the hell you're doing, and then you get cheated on because you ain't know. So it's like a lose-lose. It's a lose. You're like, she's boring. She's this. And it's
like to try things sexually because you wanted her to not explore her entire life and just all of a sudden marry you and ta-da, I'm this
literally like that. I was just waiting for my debut right now. This is no. Like it's like, you know, like when women are like exploring their sexuality, oh, she's this, she's a hoe, she's whatever, she's promiscuous. And then when you also don't do it, then you wait until this point. Well, yeah, right? Like,
and you suck in bed. It's like, okay, what do you
like? I feel like there's just never a win-win situation for women. It's like you're either this, and we're talking like that's bad, and you're either this, and that's bad. Like it's
you can't please all the people all the time.
True. And so please yourself.
Yeah. So just focus on you. I wanted to kind of circle back to when we were talking about jealousy. I actually think a little bit of jealousy is a good thing. I think if you can use the jealousy to fuel you and propel you to do things and to like motivate you, I think it's okay to look at something that somebody has and say, oh, I want that. Where it gets dangerous is when you say, I want that and I don't want them to have it anymore. It's like, oh, I want that and I want to take it from you, I think is where it gets dangerous. But if I look at you have a certain car and I'm like, well, I like that car. I want that car. Damn, well, I don't got that car. Then it's like, okay, let me step my shit up. Let me do what I have to do to get that. I'm okay with you having it, but I also want it. And I think that's where we just get a little bit messed up, where we just let the jealousy sit. We don't want to put in the work. We don't want to put in the effort. We're not willing to do the things that that person did to get the things that they have. And somehow we feel entitled that we should have the things that they have, but you're not willing to do what they did. So, you know, so I think that little bit of jealousy can motivate you. But if you let it sit and fester and grow into this envy is when we have problems.
Yeah. I always say with that jealousy piece, because it is a fine line, like it's a thin line between love and hate and genius and psychotic or genius and psychosis. You always have to ask yourself when you look at something that someone else has, one way you can always keep yourself in check is ask yourself, why do I want it?
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Ask yourself, why do I want it? And what role will it play in my life having it? If when you ask yourself, why do I want it? Because I don't think I've ever told you this, Dani. She had this car that I loved. Like I loved it. And when she got it, I was like, oh my God, I can get this car too. Like, I love this car. I think we were at Nordstrom's and she was picking me up or dropping me off or doing something. And I got in her car and I was like, ooh, Dani, this is it. I love it. I got to have it.
I remember.
I was like, oh my God, I got to have it. I just love it. And so it wasn't, and then I asked myself, I was like, well, Leash, why do you want it? And for me, her car made me feel safe. And because I had been in so many accidents, I liked how the car felt like it was a spaceship, like there was a lot of space that I could be protected in it.
Mhm.
So when I answered the why as to why I wanted it, I was like, oh, well, this is a good thing as to why I want this. And it's okay for me to be like, ooh, see this and want it because she had it, because of my why. How you make sure you don't go over to that envy piece is when you look at something that somebody else has, and you ask and answer the why. If the why is, well, because it just looks good on them, then that's a no. Immediately no. I've seen all that I need to see.
Immediately no.
Immediately no. Immediately no. It
Yeah.
just you can't, you have to always make sure that, because what someone else has and what comes with it
Right.
might not be something that you can handle.
Ooh.
What I can take, it could fuel me, fill me. But if you got it, what I have, and you can't take it, it could potentially kill you, because
It might be too much.
it
Yeah.
might be too much for you. It
Yeah.
could absolutely be too much. And Crystal Smith, Neo's wife, and regardless of how anyone feels about her, the person, she said something really, really dope on her Instagram the other day. She's on the explore page, and I clicked on the photo because it was such a great photo. I clicked on the photo, and then I just, I went perusing. I got ADD, so I just go to sliding sometimes. And I went perusing, and on one of the captions, she was like, "Yes, I'm a mom, and I'm not going to stay in the box that you're dying to get out of yourself."
Yeah. So true.
So yeah, I can be sexy. It's why I don't believe in being in humility or being humble, because humble means low in rank, importance, or status. That is the literal definition. Having a feeling of insignificance, inferiority, and subservience.
Yeah.
Why would I want to be humble?
Why?
Yeah. And even and kind of talking about even that definition of feeling like low in what'd you say? Low in
rank.
Low in rank, right? I think that even when you are confident, you do have these moments where you have self-doubt.
Yeah.
And self-doubt creeps in no matter how confident you are. And I love what you said earlier, Ching, about feeling confident in one area and not so confident in the other area. And we sometimes want to group everything into one confidence bowl. And it's like, oh, I'm just a confident person. And then sometimes someone may feel like, oh, you're so confident. And then they experience the area that you're not confident in. And then they're confused about who you are now.
Yeah.
And they don't know how to receive you, because it's like, yeah, I can draw, but I can't like build a house. It's like, I don't think confidence works like that. I think that if you're a confident person, you may approach things with a little bit more, surety of things. Like you may just be more willing to try things. You may be willing to take more risks, but it doesn't mean that you don't have self-doubt that creeps in. Yes. So for you, what does your self-talk sound like in those moments where you're not sure of yourself? Like you talked a little bit about like, okay, you have to kind of just walk in the room and feel that way. But what are some of like the actual conversations you have with yourself when you're like, oh shit, I can't do this?
I think I have to remind myself that I'm enough every single time. And that there is space for me wherever I go.
Yeah.
Something that I heard a few times is, if you ever feel like you're not enough, you should just go to your favorite supermarket. Mine is Trader Joe's. I'm a Trader Joe's kind of girl. And go to the water aisle and see all the different kinds of water brands that have been able to be brought to life.
Yes.
Somebody could have Voss and Fiji and all these things, and people are buying and supporting them.
Yeah.
You should know that there is enough space for you. Like if there's 10 million water brands, water that is actually for me. There is enough space for you. And I feel like that's my self-talk. Right?
Yeah.
I need to realize that I'm enough.
I love that.
For example, like just being a little vulnerable right now, I had an event yesterday with this brand called Patboy. It's a beautiful clothing brand. And they hosted an event for me. And the whole week, I was feeling like so impostery. And I went to a fitting yesterday morning, and they were just treating me like I was it. But in my head, I was like, how do they know who I am? I'm just, like it felt like very impostery. And like I had to have that self-talk. I went to the bathroom and I was like, girl, look, you're it. You're enough. You deserve to be in this space. You deserve everything that is coming to you. And self-doubt is a disease that needs to be cut off. I want nothing to do with it. And I think it is the one thing that has definitely stopped me from like pushing myself sometimes to the place I want to be or who I want to be.
Yeah. That's awesome. And not just the self-talk, but who you're surrounding yourself with and how they talk to you. Having women affirm you, I don't know what is, other than your own self-affirmations and your own self-talk, having other women see you and affirm you, I'm not really sure what's more powerful than that. Like when another woman can look at you and speak life into you, a lot of times we look for validation from men, right? That's just how society breeds us and tells us how to be. And that's the stuff that we're programmed to think. It's like, oh, we want men to, but we all know that when we get dressed up for sister girl over the girls.
Girls, when a girl says, I see you, red dress, I say, stop.
Dress for each other. So when we can look at each other, I think for me, that's probably one of my favorite parts of Alechia and I's friendship, is that she has taught me to be more vocal. I was the kind of person where I'll think something nice about you, or I'll see that you look nice, but if it's not like mind-blowingly nice, I'm not going to say, like, if you look good, I'm not going to say anything. But if you look great, I'm going to be like, oh, girl, you're killing it. But if you just look like good, I'm going to be like, okay, you look good. Like, okay. But Alechia taught me the importance of vocalizing even when your friends look good, because she may look good that day, but feel like shit inside. And just that little affirmation can have her looks matching with her insides. And it changed everything for me when it comes to my friendships, of just being vocal. And I didn't realize how much power my words held with my friends, and how much they look to me for my opinion on certain things, and how much they really care what I think. And sometimes we don't want to admit that you care what your friends think, but this is your circle. These are the people in your life. You do care. They hold weight, what they say. And Alechia taught me a lot about just being like, okay, sis, find something. Find something, right? Find a shoe, a hair, a nail, a lash. You can usually, because I'll be like, girl, there's nothing on her. She's like, find something, okay?
Because it matters. Like, it matters that we're telling each other, you're beautiful. Like, I like this about you.
Yeah.
Or, yo, the way you put them shoes on. Yes.
It makes such a big difference. And you don't know how much you need it until you get it. And you were like, damn, I've been going so long having friends that don't affirm me and don't speak life into me and don't see me for real, and and even in my lowest points, they see me as my highest self. Like, those are the kind of friends you have to surround yourself with, because they can really bring you out of dark places and help completely eradicate self-doubt. Because when another woman can look at you and be like, girl, you are dope, you deserve to be here. You're like, okay. Thanks for fixing my crown, sis.
And I think that's also why that's why I have the platform I have, right? I was seeing that even just in my friend group, like, there was not that uplifting, right? I think everybody was just kind of a little afraid to do it. And I as in, like, I'm that friend, like, in my friend group, who's like, girl, I see you. It's like, literally, you could be in bed. It's like, girl, it's just the morning skin for me. It's the beautiful skin for me, And the thing is that, like, getting messages from other women on my platform saying, like, I needed that today, right? I was not feeling it, and I needed that today. Thank you for, like, I don't even know who you are, but thank you for seeing me in this moment, in this space, in this time. And I think we just need so much more of that. Like, women are so powerful and so magical, and, like, it just brings me joy to see other women just come together and just kiki together, just be powerful, and strong. I just love it. It makes my life, So.
I do. It changes the game for all of us. And the reason that I am always affirming other women, I don't care if I know you or not, is because if I can empower a woman I don't know with, hey, love, you are wearing that dress, or hey, love, you have a beautiful smile, or hey, your eyes are gorgeous, then she walks into the next room that she's about to go into with a little more kindness. And then she treats someone else who may also be struggling, or who may be having the best day of their lives, with a little more kindness. And then they do it to someone else, and they do it to someone else. And then it's like a wildfire that catches on, to where we all are now in a perpetual state of empowering each other. And when you can be in a perpetual state of where you're constantly talking nice to yourself, like, I don't curse my daughter out. Now I do curse because, you know, I'm a sailor. I'm not going to play pretend like I like to curse. It makes me feel great. I don't curse my daughter out because I want her to know what it feels like for people to talk to her in kindness.
Yeah.
Like my girlfriend's like, why you ain't yelling at her? And don't get me wrong, I grew up in a house where all we heard was yelling and fussing and For me, it matters that she knows that even in our disagreements, I can still speak to you like I got good sense. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not the gentle parent where I'm going to be like, honey, I need you to. No, I'm going to say what I got to say. Listen, tonight, that don't work for me. I need you to stop. Mm-hmm. We're not doing that today. But it's always, you look really great today. You are such an amazing human. Like you are, the way you learn that math, girl, you worked hard because that's the new math and your mom don't know it. Good job, sis. But we can start to
it's the gift that keeps on giving, right? Like it's you really, if you're pouring into someone, that person is pouring into another person, and it's just this beautiful circle of life, you know?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And I wanted to kind of circle back a little bit because we touched a little bit on like, you know, it's good to be a little bit delusional. Yeah. And I do agree that a little bit of delusion can be healthy, just like a little bit of jealousy. But I think that we kind of live in this world where the delusion goes a little too far and we get disconnected from a sense of reality. And we base our confidence in fleeting things. It's like not rooting our confidence in things that really matter for real. It's like, okay, you can't root your confidence. Yeah, you can't root your confidence just in your physical looks. Like that's not enough for you to be confident in, because your looks are going to change. They're going to not look the same at 20 as they do at 40, as they do at 50, as they do after a child, as they do after a surgery. So when you're basing it in that, it tends to get, it's easy to kind of waver, right? Because it's not based or rooted in anything for real. So for you, what do you feel like your confidence is rooted in? Like, what are some of the ways that you back up your confidence with substance where it's not so flighty or surface, you know, like, I think confidence right now is popular and I love that, but I also want to see more women rooting it in things that are of substance.
Yeah. I think just starting it out, I feel like for me, I had to learn confidence physically, right? Like in my body, because my body is not the mainstream body that I always saw. So I think that's where my confidence started. I had to feel good on the outside, like love myself on the outside for me to get to a point where like, wow, I feel good. I feel like I can do something. I think my confidence is very much rooted in just, I don't know how to say it. Like, I think it's rooted in I don't know what to say. I think it's rooted in myself, like as a Black African woman. I think it's rooted in that power, in that existence, in that culture, in that ground, in that foundation, in that knowing that I don't have like a say in many spaces. I don't have like a space in many spaces, but knowing that I am rooted in a tapestry, or like I'm going to say like a tapestry of like many women, of many strong, powerful figures.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I was like trying to.
No, it does. No, it does. And I always say too, when it comes to rooting yourself. Sorry, guys, there's a whole lot of feedback. Do you guys hear that? Sorry, editors, you're going to need to cut that piece out. It's a whole lot of feedback. And I think you're okay, no, Chin, I see you moving again. Okay, so I'll count it down, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then we'll start it back in. So no, I understand, especially when you say tapestry, because it means that you understand, that it's out of many, there's one.
Yeah.
So in you, the one, expression of you, there are many that have not only come before you, but that will also come through you. Whether or not you have children, that's not what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. But there are many that will come through you. And because of that, you're rooted in, and for me, I do believe it's personal power. So you were trying to find the words and I wanted to say it, but I said, no, let me let you find it yourself. But when you talk to tapestry, that's personal power.
Yeah.
So being rooted in your personal power, in your personal belief, and in your personal faith that who I am is not only enough, but it is exactly who I need to be, what I need to be, and where I will need to be anytime, any place, whether it's 2 in the morning or 2 in the afternoon. That is transformative, because then what you do is you give other people permission to do and be the same.
Yeah. And the best part about a tapestry is how unique each one is.
Yes.
Right? So what I root my confidence in is not what you have to root your confidence in. And you don't have to do it like me or say it like me or walk like me. So I love, oh my God, I'm going to take that. If you hear me say it on another podcast, girl, just know that. I love that. Root your confidence in this tapestry of all the women and all the people that uplift you and all the shoulders you stand on. That is so powerful and such a beautiful way to describe.
So sorry, Dani, you're going to have to say that again. Just that last piece, because you completely froze and we couldn't, there was,
Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
I'm just saying that it's such a beautiful way to talk about confidence, because you realize that it takes so much more than just you to be confident, and all the people that play this part in your life, especially the woman. That is just such a perfect way to put it. I'm definitely going to take that with me. And you know what? And I think that is, when people talk about humble, I think that they miss that's it's not about like being this meek person. It's about just keeping yourself grounded. I think we need to focus more on groundedness than humility. It's like, no, there was something that Kanye West's mom said to him in his wonderful documentary. And he's such a great example of a little bit of delusion can take you a really long way. just a little bit. Because he was saying he was the best rapper before he even laid a ride for real, like put out a song. You know, I like the way he looks at things, but some things, not all things. But one of the things his mother said to him was, when a giant looks in the mirror, they see nothing, right? It's like everyone else is looking at the giant. Everyone else can see that the giant is a giant, but the giant is just being a giant, just living. It's not concerned. You don't walk out every day like, oh, I'm a giant. Oh, I'm this person. That's not, when you're really confident, you're not even thinking about that constantly. It's just, you know, like people, oh, you think you're all that. It's like, I don't have to think about it.
It just is.
I just am. Yeah.
I'm just being this way. And I think if women could kind of embrace just being as opposed to doing and trying, and just like we waste so much of our feminine energy doing the most, when you could just be the most. Okay.
Yes, I love that so much.
Yes to the being the most. Just
be the most. Yeah.
Yeah. The flower doesn't focus on how beautiful it is. It simply arises and is beautiful.
Yeah.
That's
I love it.
Oh, listen, this was such a good conversation. And I really, really loved, Dani, when you said that piece about tapestry, each one is unique. Mm-hmm. And so you don't have to do it like somebody else or the way somebody else does it or is doing it. You get to do it how you do it. You get to do it with what works for you. And that if anyone who's listening to this, if that's the one takeaway you get, is figure out who you are. And then, because the business head in me is going to always say, and then develop your skills. Yeah. Yes, Kanye has, quite a bit of delusion, but he also was committed to developing his craft.
Absolutely. Good point. Great point. That's so true.
Like, develop your craft. Yes, you can say I'm the greatest rapper alive. And yes, you can say, because Muhammad Ali said the same thing, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. I'm the greatest of all time. And he was saying that before he had won a match. But what he backed it up with, now this is the piece that I need y'all to remember.
Yes.
What he backed up that confidence with was him showing up in the gym before everybody else showed up.
Right. That goes back to the substance. That goes back to rooting your confidence in the substance. Absolutely.
That's that substance. Right. Kanye West was showing up to the studio, being in there for long periods of time, focusing on making sure this was right, making sure the 808, was in flow with whatever the music it is that he wanted to create. So don't be so confident and so delusional that you aren't willing, right, to do the work it takes to develop your craft.
Yes.
You have to still develop yourself. I am confident in all things. And I also understand that if I never show up to develop myself and further develop myself, that confidence will, it'll be like powder. It's there. But as soon as you take it out of the thing, you sprinkle it around a little bit, it kind of starts to dissipate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you gain confidence through doing things, like doing the things that you're trying to master, right? There's one thing to be confident, but if you are trying to become confident at something specific, a task, an art, something, it is going to take the effort to try those things to actually build your confidence. The experience will help you with the confidence. When you've done something 10 times and you can master something, or you can become damn good at it, it's going to be really hard for somebody to come and be in your ear like, oh, it's like, oh, no, I do this, like it's just, it is important. Yes, you got to be it. And I'm all about being the most, but I do think when it comes to specific tasks or specific things that you want to accomplish, it is going to take some effort. I love that, Alechia. I think that's awesome. Yeah. So Achieng, where can we stay connected with you? How can we follow up? Because we need all the confidence in our lives. Okay.
Well, you can find me on the internet at No Ordinary Noir on Instagram and TikTok. I be there all day, every day, living my best life. So come live your best life with me. Period.
Yes. I love it. You can stay connected with us at Triggered AFPC on all the platforms on Beyonce's internet. You can stay connected with me also everywhere at Alechia Reese. Y'all know it's spelled different. Alechia, last name Reese, Reese. And Dani, where can we stay connected with you?
I'm at Miss Dani Foster, MissDaniFoster, everywhere. And we want to thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode. I hope that you guys got everything that you needed. I know confidence for women is just such a challenge, and I think that's very purposeful because we're so fucking powerful. If we all had confidence, everybody, hide your wife, hide your kids.
No, we would really take over this.
Yeah, we would. It would be too easy. We're too much of a force. We're too powerful. So the powers that be need us to stay small and shrink and to stay quiet. But this generation, we are not doing that. The generations after us are not going to do that because we are owning and stepping into our full power. Yes. And the world better watch out because we're coming.
That part.
So you guys, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Share with a friend. Share with your trigger happy fam, because I guarantee you someone can really, 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 really heal a trigger with this.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for having me. This was fun.
Yeah. Bye.
Until next time.
Thanks so much for listening to this week's episode of Triggered AF. Remember, don't be consumed by your triggers. Confront it and then work to release it. Whether you leave us more triggered than you came or you're feeling like you've been open to a new perspective, our hope is that you've grown. Make sure to share this episode with a friend who's trigger happy and tag us while you're listening. We can't wait to hear from you. Until next week, pull it together, girl.